The first eclipse that we attended was in October of 1977. We were on a cruise ship off the coast of Mexico, and of course they had a lot of flexibility as to travel. There were a lot of clouds. And so they were able to move the ship around to find a clear spot. There was two ships out there, the Fair Sea and the Fair Wind. They had a lot of astronomers on board. I was able to meet and talk to Bart Bach and some of those really famous, I think Dr. Bach is gone now, but a lot of famous astronomers. It was really fun. They had learning programs. The first eclipse that we attended was in October of 1977. We were on a cruise ship off the coast of Mexico, and of course they had a lot of flexibility as to travel. There were a lot of clouds, and so they were able to move the ship around to find a clear spot. There was two ships out there, the Fair Sea and the Fair Wind. They had a lot of astronomers on board. I was able to meet and talk to Bart Bach and some of those really famous, I think Dr. Bach is gone now, but a lot of famous astronomers. It was really fun. They had learning programs. They had seminars going constantly, astronomy seminars. So that was the first one we saw, and that one was, I think, a little over 2 minutes. The next one was really an interesting case because it was February of 1979, and it touched part of the United States, I think Washington State or Oregon, Washington. Then it went across Canada. And so we were going with this Eclipse Chasers Club, which was organized by Dr. Harry Nelson at Augustana. And he had done this in Australia earlier, hired a plane and flew along the path of the eclipse because we were concerned about clouds. So he called United Airlines and he said, we'd like to hire a plane to fly us from Chicago up to Canada, not land, just come back to Chicago. So I had, my ticket says origin Chicago, destination Chicago. Kind of interesting, but we did. He talked to them and they said, Well, what would you like us to do? Charter this plane? Yeah, okay. And I would like you to remove all of the seats from the right-hand side of the plane so that people can crowd around the windows to see the eclipse. We'll ride in all the seats on the left, on the right, to remove all the seats. And they said, I don't know, I don't think we can do that. And so Dr. Nelson called a good friend of his, Neil Armstrong. Neil Armstrong happened to be on the board of directors of United Airlines, so it was very quickly got back to Dr. Nelson and said, okay, we can do this for you. And so we did. We flew out of Chicago, seated in all the seats in the right hand or the left side of the plane, flew along the path of the eclipse, which would have been on the ground about 2 minutes and 40 seconds. And because we were moving along at like 500 miles an hour, we got 4 minutes and 40 seconds of total eclipse. So that was my second eclipse. My third eclipse was in 1991. We went to Hawaii, had a wonderful vacation out there, but we didn't get to see the eclipse because it got totally clouded out. Although the people who went to Baja California in Mexico got a clear view of it, so I was kind of upset that I had chose Hawaii instead of Mexico. We missed that one, and that was a long one. That was, I think, about a 7-minute eclipse.
Wow.
That's about as, I think the longest they can go is between 7 and 8 minutes.
I think so.
So then in 1998, we went on a cruise ship again in the Caribbean, went down to Aruba, got off on Aruba the day of the eclipse and set up, and we got these pictures here that I'm showing you. And so that was a great experience. We loved it, and so that was my 4 eclipses, 3 of which I've seen, and one I got to see cloud bottoms.
Good morning. Welcome to today's broadcast of the 2017 Great American Eclipse. My name is Jeff Struve, President of the Quad Cities Astronomical Society, located in the Iowa Quad Cities. This 3-hour event is brought to you by the Almighty and will be narrated by Dr. Robert Mitchell, Physics Department, St. Ambrose University, Davenport, Iowa. No planets will be injured during the making of this live broadcast. And now, Dr. Mitchell.
A total solar eclipse is that rare event when the moon completely covers the face of the sun, leaving only a bright corona surrounding what looks like a dark hole in the sky. The reason this occurs has to do with the moon's orbit around Earth combined with Earth's orbit around the sun. Seen from this vantage point in space, the moon orbits around the Earth counterclockwise. As the moon orbits around the Earth, we see different phases because we see different amounts of the moon's sunlit side pointing toward the Earth. During a full moon, the entire sunlit side of the moon is facing toward us, so we see what looks like a completely lit circle. New moon occurs when the moon is more or less between the Earth and the sun, so that only the darkened side of the moon is pointed toward us. This is the phase when you have the potential for a solar